There's this young student at my company who just started his internship there. His name is Tatsu. He and I like to chat to each other. One uneventful morning, Tatsu unceremoniously mentioned that he had met a ghost once. He then proceeded to tell me how it happened. This story started at Tatsu's old apartment, place he used to stay at before hired by the company. He told me about one of his neighbors, a successful doctor, living with his mother and wife. It is obvious that his wife was quite young. She often wore bold makeup and sexy clothes. Their age difference, along with their different styles in clothing, aroused a feeling of distrust and unease to others. One day, while getting ready for work, Tatsu came across his neighbor, the doctor. He was struggling to carry some heavy luggage while eagerly looking at his watch as if he was waiting for someone. My colleague, curious, went over to ask him if he needed help. The man looked up and, smiling, said that he was going on a 2-month business trip. Tatsu was no stranger to the doctor's family. In fact, the doctor's aunt often shared her homemade dumplings with him. It had been a long time since he saw her, so he was actually quite curious to know about her. After a few tense moments, the man broke down and revealed the pain that was tormenting him. His mother, he said, had terminal cancer and was receiving treatment at home. Tatsu was shocked to hear the news. He would never have expected such a kind and joyful woman to catch such a terrible disease. Surely the poor doctor must have felt powerless and impotent if he was unable to help her, he said. Tatsu then mentioned he had to rush because he was late for his shift, so the two said their goodbyes and went on their way. Tatsu couldn't stop to look back at the man on his way out. He noted how his expression seemed to change as he walked away. Time went on, and the doctor's absence in the house was eventually dismissed. And so it was until one day my colleague was taking out the garbage when he saw something strange. Tatsu had just opened the door when he noticed, down the stairs, to his right, a couple walking up towards him. As soon as the woman noticed him, her expression changed. Tatsu was quick to realize this was the doctor's wife. Tatsu couldn't mutter a word before the woman started introducing the young man to him. She said he was her younger brother from the countryside. Tatsu, being an honest and trusting person, thought nothing of this encounter. But the young brother lost his balance and tripped down the stairs. Fortunately, but unconvincingly, her sister saved him. The young man looked at Tatsu with distrust. Tatsu left right after, not feeling quite at ease around those two. On a different occasion, Tatsu heard the doorbell ring at his neighbor's apartment, and in curiosity took a peek to see who it was. For a brief moment, he saw the so-called siblings being extremely intimate with each other. A sister would never do that with her brother, and a brother will definitely not do that to his sister, he thought. A few days passed, and Tatsu forgot about what he had seen. One morning, on his way out, Tatsu felt the smell of incense and could sense a feeling of mourning nearby. And just as he was thinking this, his neighbor opened the door. His face lacked life. All it reflected was sadness. He was wearing a traditional white garment that is worn for funerals. I had to ask Tatsu if he really dared to ask him if his mother was dead. After hearing this, he nodded his head to confirm, while wiping the tears from the corner of his eyes. When Tatsu heard this, he was shocked. He couldn't believe she was gone so soon. He offered his condolences to the family and asked for permission to come in and burn incense in her honor. As soon as he walked into his apartment, he saw the doctor's wife sitting on the sofa, eyes glued to her phone and with an indifferent expression on her face. When she saw him, her face was startled and her discomfort became apparent. After seeing her, he suddenly recalled what he saw days before, but he knew that wasn't the time or place to bring it up now. He had to quietly pray for his aunt and burn some incense for her. After lighting the incense on the fire, he noticed a strange silhouette forming above him. Just above the shrine where her picture rested, Tatsu in horror saw blood running down the wall and coming from the aunt's face in the picture. He was so scared that he even tripped back. He was screaming, trying to get away from this horrible display. His scream called the attention of everyone, especially the doctor, who rushed back to see what happened. He helped Tatsu off the sofa in the living room and asked him about what happened. Tatsu was trembling and scared, trying to tell the doctor about what he had seen in the auntie's photo. But when the couple looked around, they saw nothing out of place. Tatsu was shocked, unsure if what he had seen was the result of an hallucination or something else. Then, behind him, he saw the doctor's wife, looking suspicious. Before he left, he said his goodbyes to the man and tried to comfort him as much as he could. Tatsu thought that was the end of it, but not even a day after, his life turned upside down. The next night, Tatsu left for work late. He was doing overtime and left for home at 11 p.m. Tatsu just entered the house when a cold, gloomy air rushed over him. But since he had had a long day of work and was tired, he just disregarded it, ate some noodles, and went to bed. That night, Tatsu couldn't sleep. He suddenly woke up startled in the middle of the night, and for as much as he tried, he could not go back to sleep. As he struggled to fall asleep, he heard a strange sound coming from the living room. It sounded like someone munching on bread. He went out to check out the strange sound, but as soon as he opened the door, he saw a dreadful scene in front of him. Standing there in the living room was the old lady who had just passed away, devouring a loaf of bread. Her face was indiscernible. All he could see was a white, glowy face that almost made him faint. Tatsu ran back into his room, jumped on his bed, and went under the blankets. He was shaking and trembling like never before. His whole body was wrapped up in blankets. He could barely control the shaking as he tried to pray for help. After a moment of silence, the lady's soul slowly opened his door and walked in. She walked right to his side. Her face was as bloody as in the picture he had seen at the funeral. Tatsu was shaking, begging for his life, but the woman just stood there and with a calm voice told him about her demise. She said that her daughter-in-law refused to feed her and so she starved to death. She only spent her time with another man while her son was away. Hearing this made Tatsu feel unsettled. He wanted to ask her why she was not haunting her daughter-in-law instead of him, but he was too scared, but eventually did so. The lady with the croaky voice told him that she could not enter the house for there was something stopping her. This is why she came to ask him for help. Hearing that, Tatsu suddenly remembered the promise he had made to his neighbor's family. In front of the aunt's picture, he promised to help if they ever needed him. He then also remembered the times the cheating woman had deceived her husband. Tatsu changed his expression. He looked angry and determined now. He sat up and threw the blankets away. He then told the spirit that he would help her. But when he saw her clearly, his nose started bleeding. Hearing Tatsu's offering made the spirit tear up. Tatsu told her that he would go the next morning to their house to clarify this whole situation. Hearing this, the old woman laughed and smiled. She thanked him deeply. She said that fulfilling her wish would help her be in peace. She then faded away through the door until she disappeared. It seemed like the wicked daughter-in-law is going to get her comeuppance and will deal with immeasurable consequences. The next morning, as soon as Tatsu saw the doctor's wife leave, he went over to his house. The doctor was surprised to see him there at such an early time in the morning. With quick wit, Tatsu told him that his toilet was clogged and wanted to ask to use theirs. The doctor, being a neighborly man, immediately agreed. Once inside his home, Tatsu sneakily went to the aunt's shrine. He looked around, searching for the thing the spirit mentioned the night before. He kept on searching, looking for any unusual objects. When he reached the front of the wife's room, he saw a bowl with a bunch of mirrors hanging from the door. Tatsu did not know what it was, but it was surely unusual, so he decided to take it down to bring it to the spirit. If I do this, the spirit won't hang around my place anymore, he thought. Tatsu said that not long after that, he started his internship at my company, and shortly after, Tatsu accidentally stumbled upon his neighbor on the street. This time around though, he looked even more devastated, like he had just been through more pain and sorrow. He tried greeting him, but the doctor did not answer. Tatsu was curious, so he asked people close to him about his family. A person told him that his wife had suddenly gone crazy. One day, she just lost it. She grabbed a knife, cut her face, and gouged her own eyes before finally slicing her throat open. Everything was finally revealed, and she confessed.